in July 2022 when RBI introduced a framework permitting international trade settlements in Indian rupees. Through the special Rupee escrow account SRVA mechanism, foreign banks can hold Rupee accounts with Indian banks, enabling importers and exporters to settle transactions directly in Indian currency. As India's share in global trade continues to rise and its economy moves closer to becoming one of the world's largest, greater use of the rupee in international transactions naturally complements its growing economic influence. Namaskar, I welcome you all to the digital media of Uday India. Myself Deepak Kumar Rath in Bhartiyata ka Sakhanat. Today, I will speak about the power of rupee in the global arena. Friends, you all know that nearly 8 decades, the US dollar has been the undisputed king of global commerce. From crude oil and defense deals to international banking and trade finance, the world's economic engine has largely run on the greenback. But the global order is changing. Geopolitical tensions, economic sanctions, supply chain disruptions, and a rise of new economic powers have encouraged countries to look beyond an over-dependence on a single currency. India too is responding to this changing reality, but not through confrontation, but through careful economic strategy. Friends, over the past 3 years, India has steadily expanded trade settlements in national currencies with a growing list of partner countries. Russia, the United Arab Emirates, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, Maldives, and Japan are among the nations exploring or implementing mechanisms that allow trade to be conducted directly in their respective currencies instead of routing every transaction through the US dollar. The objective is not to replace the dollar overnight, but to create a more resilient, efficient, and diversified international trading system where countries have a greater flexibility in settling payments. The foundation for this shift was laid in July 2022 when RBI introduced a framework permitting international trade settlements in Indian rupees. Through the special Rupee escrow account SRVA mechanism, foreign banks can hold Rupee accounts with Indian banks, enabling importers and exporters to settle transactions directly in Indian currency. Since then, the RBI has approved 156 SRVA for banks from 30 trading partner countries, reflecting growing international confidence in the Indian financial system and the increasing acceptance of the rupee in cross-border trade. The list of participating countries is steadily expanding. Trade with Russia is increasingly being settled in rupees and rubles, especially after Western sanctions disrupted conventional payments channel. India and the UAE have operationalized a local currency settlement system that enables transactions in rupees and dirhams, reducing dependence on intermediary currencies. During Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Indonesia, both countries agreed to expand the use of Indian rupee and Indonesian rupiah in bilateral trade. Sri Lanka has embraced the SRVA mechanism to facilitate trade with India, while the Maldives has introduced a local currency settlement system for bilateral commerce. Even Japan, one of India's most significant strategic and economic partners, is working towards establishing a direct yen-rupee settlement mechanism. The economic advantages of such arrangements are substantial. Every international trade transaction routed through the US dollar involves conversion cost and exposes businesses to exchange rate fluctuations. By settling trade directly in local currencies, businesses can reduce transaction expenses, minimize currency risk, and complete payments more efficiently. This is particularly valuable for sectors such as energy, pharmaceutical, engineering goods, and agriculture, where even marginal savings in transaction costs can significantly improve competitiveness. There is also a broader strategic dimension. The increasing use of financial sanctions as a geopolitical tool has highlighted the vulnerabilities associated with excessive dependence on a single reserve currency. India is not seeking to challenge the global role of the US dollar. Instead, it is pursuing what has long been a hallmark of its foreign policy: strategic autonomy. By building multiple payment channels and strengthening bilateral currency arrangements, India is ensuring that its trade and economic interests remain insulated from external shocks and geopolitical uncertainties. The internationalization of the rupee also enhances India's standing as a major economic power. As India's share in global trade continues to rise and its economy moves closer to becoming one of the world's largest, greater use of the rupee in international transactions naturally complements its growing economic influence. Countries that trade extensively with India increasingly have an incentive to hold and transact in rupees, especially as India's manufacturing base, digital payment infrastructure, and financial markets continue to expand. However, the journey towards making the rupee a globally accepted trade currency is far from complete. A currency's international appeal depends on the strength of the economy behind it. India must continue maintaining macroeconomic stability, deepen its financial markets, ensure currency stability, and improve ease of doing business. Another challenge lies in creating sufficient investment opportunities so that countries accumulating rupees can productively deploy them with the Indian economy. Without such avenues, enthusiasm for holding rupee balances may remain limited. Yet, the direction is unmistakable. India is not attempting to dethrone the dollar, it is building alternatives in an increasingly multipolar world. Economic resilience depends on diversification rather than dependence. The expansion of rupee-based trade reflects a mature understanding of this reality. What began as a technical policy reform in 2022 is gradually evolving into one of the India's most significant economic diplomacy initiatives. Every new local currency settlement agreement reduces friction in trade, strengthens bilateral partnerships, and enhances India's financial credibility. More importantly, it signals that the future of global commerce may no longer revolve around a single currency alone. As the world moves towards a more balanced and multipolar economic order, India is ensuring that the rupee is not merely a domestic currency but increasingly a trusted instrument of international trade. It is quite transformation unfolding without fanfare, but one that could redefine India's place in global financial architecture in the decades ahead. That's all for today. Stay tuned with Uday India and subscribe to Uday India. Thank you.